Yeah, so hello everyone. It's nice to have you again here. It's been a while since our last training session. And I think this is a session that all of us have been waiting for because the first session was so exciting. And what's more exciting today is, of course, we have the beautiful Batool back again. But what's more exciting is we have Ahmed with us, who is one of your colleagues or our colleagues. We're here all the same. And he will be co-hosting and co-delivering this session with Batool. And I think this is very exciting because this is what we hope that all of you do very soon, so that all of you will become our trainers for the future cohorts. So this is really exciting. We're super excited today. And I think I will give it now to Batool to take it over. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Lamis. I'm also very excited having Ahmed co-facilitating the session with me. It's so wonderful to be back. I do recognize the names, so I'm very excited to see the same names back. I will switch off my video just sort of to save bandwidth, but you've seen me, so I can just switch off my camera. Again, this is an open source workshop. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do more exercises and we will be able to do wonderful things in GitHub, hopefully. I just want to acknowledge at the very beginning that many of the slides, if this workshop is materials in the Turing way, and some of it being produced by Malvika Sharan. If you don't know the Turing way, do let me know. I am one of the core contributors and the co-lead for the localization within the Turing way. Happy to introduce you. We do bi-weekly session. We have a community calls that come in actually next week. You're very welcome to join. And you will also meet so many wonderful people inside the Turing way. Yeah, again, I am Batool Almarzouq. All of you know me. Ahmed, do you want to also introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello everyone. I'm very happy to be with you all in this session today. And as Lamis mentioned, I am one of the trainees in this program and very excited to co-facilitate this session today with Dr. Batool Almarzouq.
Thank you. So what I will be doing at the very beginning is I'm gonna just give a recap so people like to make sure your memory sort of recall some of the very important information that we went through in the very first workshop. Again, each one should know this, but if you don't remember, open source is very different than free software. And you can have a lot of free software. You can find some free software in the net. You can download them free of charge, but they're not open source. When we say open source, it means the source code, like how the code that built that software is also open. That's what we mean by open source. And open source, again, there is a lot of commercial sort of business model that you can build using open source. So Linux, for example, Red Hat, there's a huge company that is actually using open source to reduce profit. So there is a business model that you can use with open source, not by selling the open source, but by training. And there's a lot of sort of business sort of model that been used in open source. Just to let you know, there's a huge difference between free software and open source. And why we love open source, why open source we think is very important. As I mentioned, with open source, not just you can view and use, but also you can modify. So I think what's very important when it comes to open source is the empowerment. It's a way that you can not just really use that software, use that tool that been produced like somewhere in the West or in a different country, but you also can modify it. Can you distribute it? You can change it and build something even more grand and better of that software. So how you do that, there's a way how you sort of, you use open license. It doesn't mean that you steal in a software. There is an open license that you use and it is the one that says how that software is using. Again, open source is also not just used for softwares. It's used for websites. It's used for, some people write books in open source. So there is a lot of use of open source. Doesn't have to be a software. So let's say that in your work, in your academic work, you don't do actually you don't work with software very often, but you do write papers. People write papers using open source, and you can have it in GitHub. You can make it a clause at the very beginning when you write in the paper. You can collaborate with other people when you write in the paper, but then when you publish it, you can make it an open source. You open it, and you will see all the way how it's been developed and the history, how different contribution from different co-author has contributed to the paper. Again, I just would like you to think about open source outside traditional way of saying a software. The Turing way, for example, the one that I've showed you at the very beginning, this is an open source, but it's not a software. It is actually a collaborative book that everyone contribute to it, and it is a community. Okay, if anyone got a question, do feel free to put it in the chat. Why do we love open software? I think when I've done my PhD, I wasn't too much into softwares, like not too much into open source. But when I think I became more active during the pandemic, or just a few months before the pandemic, and what I found with open source did give me things that my PhD never gave me. It did improve my skill. People who have skills in user design, in graphic design, in organizing, you can use GitHub and all of these, and we're going to go through them for project management. There's a lot of things that you can have a creativity within the open source ecosystem. It also advances your career. So when you apply for anything and you have a GitHub portfolio, it makes you stand out. It is a reputation. You will be talking and contributing to a lot of high-profile projects within the open source ecosystem, like say our community, Python, all of these are open source, and you can basically have a BR or something contribution to these open source. It shows in your portfolio, and that give you a reputation. It also gives you a confidence, honestly. I remember my very first contribution to an open source project. It gave me more confidence in myself and in my skills. You also meet so many wonderful people when you start engaging in open source, because any modification or suggestion, you're interacting with other people who are going to come back from that community and say, well, we like your suggestion, but we need this and this and this and this. So you start interacting with people. They start to go to your portfolio. You start making friends. It's different than Twitter, but you still make friends also in GitHub. It's also a way where you can find mentors and you can teach others. You can start by finding mentors, and then at some point, you become the one who actually teaching others. So again, when you go and you create any BR, and I'm going to tell you what a BR means at the end of the workshop, you'll find very capable people who do a lot of fantastic work in GitHub, and you can also ask them to be able to mentor you, to support you. There's a lot of, many people who interact within the open source ecosystem, they usually people who are very giving, who are people who like to support others. So don't feel shy. If you find fantastic people, just reach out to them. They will be happy to support you. The way that we interact with open source projects, we interact with them through different ways. But there's a platform in the web that makes that interaction way easier. One of them, GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, and all of these use a technology called Git. Git is a way to do a version control. It's a way that you can, I told you about Linus, right, in the last workshop. So this guy who created Linux, when he was creating Linux, which is an operation system, you can think of Linux like, if you never used Linux, it's something like Windows, something like, if you use a Mac, also is something like Unix. a separation system. And when he was creating the separation system, he wanted a way where he can go back in time and also receive contribution from different people without messing up the code and without having multiple versions of the same code. This is being done by this, and this is it's so what he did, he created a version control system or software called Git, and that Git, I think he created it in a week. It's a way where he can track any changes within the code without having to save it in multiple versions. I'm not going to go into that too much, but you should know that Git is a software that lives in your laptop. If you're using GitHub, you don't have to download that software because GitHub is a platform, is a website that hosts projects or codes or softwares that use Git. This might sound very, very complicated, not easy to understand at the very beginning. At this stage, you don't need to know Git, you don't need to download Git, you don't need to do anything with Git. All of the work that we're going to do, we're going to use GitHub. So we're going to use just the website. And within that website, so GitHub didn't used to be capable like now today. Now you can do a lot of things just using GitHub without going back and like using the black screen or anything or the terminal. You can do a lot of wonderful things just in GitHub. You can contribute to other projects, you can do so many things in GitHub. So, and what we're going to do today is just using GitHub, okay? And GitHub is just a website. I told you about a portfolio. A portfolio is something very important. It makes you more discoverable in the net. It's also sort of, it's also track your activities. And this is a portfolio from Ahmed. You see in that portfolio, this is the username. You can think about the username like your Twitter sort of ID that people tag you with. So people tag you in GitHub using this ID. You can write some bio. It has to be very short. Usually you sort of, I think there is limit of how many you can use, and some people just add keywords. You can also write where you are from. You can, in this sort of heat map, it shows you which day of the week you contributed or you did anything actually inside GitHub. And the darker it is, the more contribution that you made that day. So when you look back to it, I look back to it now and, oh, okay, I was more sort of active in May. I hardly do anything in the weekend. And it shows anyone who comes to your portfolio as well, they will be able to see how activity you have within the GitHub ecosystem and what sort of contribution that you made over the years. Again, they can also see your repository. So these are all the projects that you've worked on before. This is, if you click in one of them, I clicked in this one from Ahmed, and you can see what work he's done. Like he's created a repository about extracting and visualizing financial data. He created some README file, and I'm gonna tell you more about the README files. He created some code, and it's really very, very good repository to look at. Maybe Ahmed can also add it in the chat so people can have a look at it. What you will do today, what we're gonna do, all of us, first, I'm gonna make sure all of you have a portfolio. I've added some sort of keyword, you sort of like added your name, you made some changes into your portfolio. I went back to some of the portfolio. I don't know if Nishba and Michael actually in the call, but I went back, they were in the very first call, and some of them have basically add some bio, some of them didn't add yet. So I just want to make sure that everyone have added their portfolio. And I like how they both added a photo, and this created already a repository. Some of them already have a repository and have a GitHub portfolio. So I want to make sure that all of you have that before I go and we start doing edit and contributing to other repositories. Okay, so let's do this together. So we are assuming, so this is my repository, and it's also going to show you like how much you do commits, pull request, issue, code review. And again, this jargon doesn't make sense right now, but once you Once I teach you and we reach the end, you'll be able to understand all of that. It shows what sort of repositories and what sort of organization that you've done work for. So it's really a good way to showcase all the work that you've done. Okay, so I would assume that everyone, as we've told you, have already signed in. If you have signed in, let us know in the chat. We will be able to help you. We're assuming that everyone have signed in. Everyone have a repository. Just in case you don't have a repository, I'm going to create one just now in front of you. So you go to this plus sign at the very top right corner. You go new repository. You call the repository whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it RN test repository. And that's all you need to do right now. Okay, you don't need to do anything with this. I would create, I would take add readme file. I think that's easy. Yeah, I would take this add readme file, and I'm going to explain what readme file is. Yours might seem a bit different than mine. You're probably not going to see this bit here. This is just because I have already downloaded an app. You're probably not going to see that in yours, but you should be able to add a name, public. Again, you can make it public, you can make it private, but I would love for you to make it public here. And then you can click add readme, and after that, you just click this green button at the very end and create a repository. If you already created a repository before, you don't have to do that again. Okay? Just in case you didn't do it in the very first session. If you have any problem, do let us know in the chat. If you see me like going very quickly, also do let me know in the chat. Okay, so with that, what we're gonna do, you have a repository now. How I can basically edit, or oh no, we're not gonna edit right now. We're gonna go back to the portfolio, okay, and we're gonna edit the portfolio itself. So you click in edit a portfolio, and you will have here where it says your bio. So you add your bio here, okay. It will ask you about your pronouns. If you don't want to specify, it's fine. I say don't specify. You can add your affiliation, you can add your country, you can add your time zone, you can add your website if you have one, you can add your social media, you can add anything that you want here. So I'm going to stop here just to allow people to do that right now. Okay. And I also want to mention that, okay, I will also post, okay, I'm going to stop sharing. So everyone have some sort of time. Let's say like, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do that. Okay. And let me just start my timer. Let's do 3 minutes just in case. Okay. And do let me know if you have any difficulties. The other thing that I didn't mention, that I have this Google Doc. It's the same one that we've used in the very first session. Let me just share screen. I should have shown at the very beginning, so apologies. For people who already finished, this is the same Google Doc that we've used in the last session. I've added it to the chat. If you can, again, add your name here, it would be fantastic. If you couldn't, just let me know. And I've also added icebreaker question, actually, but about what's the most beautiful place you've been to recently. So I would love just sort of to have, yeah, to hear from you here. Okay. Once you all have created and changed your sort of your portfolio, please do add your GitHub portfolio here so I can click on it and see it. If you have any problem accessing the Google Doc, accessing GitHub, please do let me know and we can help you. Oh, Samira has a question. Yeah, Samira. Go on, Samira.
Oh, hi. Would you just please show us how I can edit my portfolio? I just missed that out.
Okay, no worries. So this is, you should be able to access this. So should be github.com and then your ID. Do you know how to access this page for your portfolio?
I've been opening through the application, not the website, but I just use the website.
So if you go to, if you do use the website today, because the application going to be different how we use it. So if you can use the website, it would be better. And basically, once you go to the GitHub and you've already signed in, let's say, if you go to GitHub itself and you already signed in, if you're not signed in, do sign in. You go to your portfolio, okay? And in your portfolio, you click edit profile. And this is where you add your name, you add your bio, you add your pronouns. If you don't want to add your pronouns, it's fine. You add your affiliation, country, all of that. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. I'll try it.
Let me know if you did manage to do it or not.
Okay.
Anyone having any other problems? I don't see names going on here. Is everyone able actually to access the Google Doc? So if you go into one of these lines and your name and then your, thank you, Bakery. Fantastic. So I'm more interested in your GitHub rather than for people to add sort of their GitHub portfolio. Sarah Saleh. Thank you. Oh, Zoe, thank you, Zoe. Slides as well here. So we all have the slides as well. Nidal. Anyone having a problem with the GitHub? Okay, let's see. GitHub portfolio. Oh, fantastic. Seems that you, Bakari, and do excuse me if I pronounced your name wrongly. So
yes, it's properly pronounced.
Okay, I was scared when I pronounced other people's names.
That's exactly how it's pronounced.
Yeah, I see that you already have a GitHub actually for quite some time. So you created it back in 2021, which is fantastic.
Yes.
Would you be able also to add some of your bio here?
Yes, I can do that. Yeah.
Oh, I see they've added your affiliation. Fantastic. Oh, that's fantastic. You've been working in GitHub for quite some time, and you're also doing AWS bootcamp. That's fantastic.
Mm.
Obsidian, wow. All the cool sort of thing. I see Zoe have her, Zoe.
Yes, I create my account, but where can I click to complete my profile? I want to add my photo and complete.
Okay, so which one is it? The photo that you're struggling with? Let me just go back into mine. Okay, is it the photo you're struggling with? Because the photo you can edit it by clicking on the photo itself. Okay, and it will redirect you to here, and you can edit it here, uploading a photo. Does that make sense?
Photo and my profile.
Yeah, and you can also edit it here. Like you can add your bio here, and you can add all this information here, or you can add it from here by edit profile, and immediately everything will be editable. Does that confuse you?
I think Batool, she's asking from where can she do that? Like the where can she click to be able to access? Yeah.
So you should first go to GitHub. So all of you should be able to go to GitHub. And if you already signed in, you just click here and you go to your profile. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's for clarifying as well. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Let me check other people's profile. So curious. Oh, Sarah. Wonderful. You have 3 repository. That's wonderful. Do you already know, Sarah, how to change your photo and add your bio, but you just didn't do it, or do you need help with it?
No, I'm still editing my bio. I'm working on it right now.
Okay. Take your time. No rush. No rush.
Okay, thank you so much.
Oh, your profile picture is taken for. Yeah, I know. Every time I change my profile picture as well in GitHub, it takes forever. Samira, I have your hand up.
So yeah, I was able to, edit my profile, but I don't know what shall I share to the Google Doc, because I found multiple questions.
Oh, so you share it here and so if you add your name here and then you add your, okay. So this is name, country, major and social handle. So if you can add your name, your country, your major, and then your social handle, you don't have to answer them all, but then you add your GitHub. The most important thing to me is your name and your GitHub. That's how I'll be able to see it. I'm unable, Nidal, I'm not able to edit my profile. Is it because I'm using my phone? Yeah, that's the thing about phone with GitHub. They don't work very well.
But it is editable. I'm also using my phone.
Oh.
I logged in using Chrome, using a browser.
Okay, so let me say that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But with GitHub, you really want to use your laptop. I never use GitHub and edit things or do a BR. And this is like the very simple exercise that we're going to do, but we're going to have to do more complex exercises in a bit. And I've never seen someone do them in their phone. You might be able to use your phone with Safari or with with Google Chrome, I don't know. But I would recommend that you use your computer. Are you also logged in, Nidal? Is it Nidal or Nidal?
Hi, it is Nidal.
Nidal. Salam, Nidal. Did you log in?
No, I can't even.
You can't even log in. Oh, please. No. Okay. Nidal, do you wanna go into a breakout room with Ahmed? Probably he will be able to support you how you can log in.
Okay.
Will you be able also to share screen? Are you able to share screen from your phone?
Yes.
Okay. So I think Ahmed, would you be able to?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and Emmanuel, maybe you should enable screen sharing for everyone.
Yeah,
so that you could share.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Emmanuel,
I did it at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Emmanuel, would you be able to create a breakout room that you can send Nidal and Ahmed to it?
I have the same issue as Nidal.
Okay, I think you both,
Thomas, yeah.
okay, I think you both don't have, you're not logged in. Are you using your iPhone as well? Thomas,
Yes, I'm using my laptop. In the morning, I created an account. By this time, I cannot find a way of logging in.
okay. In that case, Ahmed, I would, yeah, I would need your help and support in this as well. So what we're gonna do, let's create a breakout room, Emmanuel. And if you can send Ahmed with Thomas and Nidal to it, that would be good. Let me just stop share.
Yeah, Batool, I just did.
You've already created one?
Yeah, and I've added the three of them.
Oh, okay, fantastic.
Should I add you or you be good?
No, I'll be in the main room.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so Nidal's still not in, I think because of her iPhone. Nidal, are you able to move to the breakout room? Okay, she moved already. Do we also have anyone struggling? I see Musa have already added their portfolio. Musa, is there anything that you're struggling with in editing your portfolio? Okay.
Yeah, I joined lately, and I'm not in. I'm not assigned in my group.
Oh, okay. So what we are doing right now, Musa, okay, for the people who joined very late, let me just share screen again. So what we are doing right now, Musa and everyone who joined a bit late, we're trying to edit the portfolio, okay? So we are trying to edit the bio here. Let me show you. So trying to add a bio, add more information here, and just making the portfolio sort of more attractive. That makes sense. So you can also add a picture. The way that you do that, you click edit a portfolio. How to reach this page first? You already reached it, but just in case you didn't. So you go to GitHub. From GitHub, you click in your portfolio here and that image at the very top right corner, and you go your profile. Okay, once you click your profile, you will see this page. And here you can edit your profile by clicking edit profile. So you just add your name, you add your bio, you add your universities and all of these social media sort of things. You don't have to add all of them, but I would like you at least to try and edit your name and your affiliation. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you, Batool. Thank you.
No worries. Let me check. And we also have this Google Doc. If you can add your name and then add your GitHub, that would be fantastic.
Would you send me?
Yeah, I've just sent it.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Let me check other people as well. I think I've checked this one. Oh, Sarah added the bio and added affiliation. That's fantastic. Wonderful. Let me just check others as well.
Batool, I already did it. Have you seen any?
Not yet, Aman. What's yours? Can you put it in the chat, Aman?
Yeah, username you mean?
Yeah, your username. And I don't see you as well here. So if you can add it, Aman, add it to the chat, or if you can complete your name here, or your sort of your GitHub portfolio, your country, that would be fantastic. Okay.
Okay.
Ubi. Am I pronouncing? So for this person, because I don't have the name right now here, and this is, I would assume, just the ID. Are you having difficulty as well in creating your portfolio? Okay, do let me know in the chat if you have any problem. Let me check my Aman. Oh, fantastic, Aman. I can see you now, Aman. Okay, wonderful. So you've already added your photo, that's fantastic. If you can also edit anything in your portfolio, like add in your country, that would be fantastic. You can just click edit portfolio and you should be able to edit it. But that's fantastic. You've uploaded the photo.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Let me check Khadija as well. Okay, Khadija, do you have any problem with editing the profile?
Yeah, I'm just working on it now. I just found my way to
Okay.
my profile and I'm just trying to edit.
Okay, take your time, no
I'm
rush.
still on it. All right, thank you.
No worries, Khadija. Okay, fantastic. Let me check also. Is Samira. Oh, Samira is using also emoji. You can use emoji here to say like I'm working from home or working online and all sorts of things. That's fantastic. It's wonderful. Let me also check the other username. Very, very excited. Wow, 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 wow. That's wonderful. That's amazing. Wow. I love that. Is it Abercrombie? It's wonderful. Your scholar, your orchid, that's very, very good. And I love the photo. It's very professional. Very, very professional. I think, let me just sort of, is that a username, Yvonne?
Sorry for interrupting, but can you send me again to the breakout room? Because
Nidal. Yeah, Emmanuel would be able to send it. I think Ahmed is also back.
Okay, I'm editing my profile.
Okay.
It will look better in a minute.
I take your time, Yvonne. As long as you are able to edit, that's make me comfortable. Just want to make sure that you're not lost or anything and you're able to edit it. You don't have to complete everything. And Ahmed, how is it going?
Yeah, Thomas managed to create to log in the profile, but Nidal, I think she left the breakout room by mistake, I believe. So if you can send me back also, it's great, Emmanuel.
Yeah, you're a hero, Ahmed. You managed to have someone is logged in. That's fantastic. Okay. Emmanuel, would you be able to move Ahmed? Okay. Let me just make Ahmed.
Yeah, I see it now. Let
You
me
see the breakout
join.
room?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So what I will be doing right now, folks, I wanna make sure like everyone able to log in, everyone able to edit their profile, because that's very, very basic. That's very, very important. Otherwise, you won't be able to follow up with the rest of the tutorial. So what I'll be doing, I'll give you a few minutes, and I also suggest that we have a break now. In that break, for people who still doing and not being able to access or edit, do let me know. For other people, you can just go and have a break. We're gonna do that for 5 minutes, and then we'll be back. So we will be back exactly 11:50 in my time, which is 10:50 in GMT.
Hello?
Hello, Aman.
I cannot directly go on the meeting chat. I cannot get the link when I try to copy it.
Which link you're not able to? Are you not able to access the Google Doc?
Yeah, the Google Doc. I don't
So-
know what's wrong with me when I try to copy paste or directly to the link.
So you're able to
join that, yeah.
I can do that for you. Don't worry, I've added your name. And I can actually add your GitHub. So I've added it right now. But it's fine if you have a problem with the Google Doc. But you are able sort of to play with the GitHub. I have been able to log into the GitHub. Okay. For folks who just joined us right now or have still not been able to edit their profile, for others, please do go and take 5 minutes break, and we'll be back at 10:50. Okay?
Okay.
For others who still have a problem, I'm going to show you one more time. So how to reach this page? What we want to do is we want to edit your page so you have your name, bio, pronouns, social media, and like have your portfolio more standing out. The way you want to do it, you want to go to GitHub. Okay. Once you go to GitHub, you'll have this. So this is how it's going to be shown. You should be able to log in because I'm already logged in. I only need to go to your profile. If you're not logged in, you should log in. Like you should add your username and your password. Okay. But in my case, I'm already logged in. So I go to the corner here in your right corner and I click your profile. Okay. I click on that. Once I click, I go here and I click on edit a profile. So edit a profile, it will make all of that editable. So you add your name, you add your bio, you add your affiliation and all of that. You don't have to fill in all of that, but at least if you can add your name and your country, that would be fantastic. And then you save it and apply. You should be able to have your profile. Any questions? If no question, we have 1 minute until the finish of this break. So,
But I have one question, Batool.
Okay, Musa and then Samira.
Yeah, where should I post my account? Like in which room? Because I joined lately, there are different groups. Where should I drop my GitHub link after updating?
Yeah, I would like you to add it to the Google Doc, but if you can't add it to the Google Doc, let me just share screen. I ask people to add it here, like with their name and then their affiliation and then their GitHub. Okay, so so this is my GitHub. Let me show you. Let me just copy mine again, and yeah, this is my GitHub. Samira.
So would you just please go back through the changing picture?
Changing the picture. So the picture is You click on the picture itself. Once you click on it, it will take you to this page. And here you edit by click editing, upload a photo, and you should be able to upload a photo. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay, we should have already. So I'm just gonna go to room 1, double check with them and be back. But in that case, do go have some water or a cup of tea, and I'll be back. Okay. So we have worked our portfolio. We are happy with our portfolio. Now, how we can actually show activity in our portfolio. So let me share screen again. You've seen with my portfolio and with other people as well, there's this sort of activity that you can see within the heat map. Says like 10 contribution in February 27th and that sort of things. How you do contributions, that's what I'm going to show you. You can do contribution by creating a repository like the one I've created. So I've just created this repository with you all. I'm probably going to do it again right now, just to make sure anyone who was not in the session able to create a repository, they're happy with it. And then we're going to edit our repository. That's one thing. So you can have your own project. You can think of repository as a project, like your own project that you want to work on. And then you can invite people to it. You can make it private and then make it public. You can do all of that. But it's very important that you know how to edit it and how you invite people. The other way of contributing, and this is what's actually most important and exciting about open source, is you going to other people's projects. So you go to a huge project in Galaxy and Python and in the Turing Way and Open Life Sciences and so many other sorts of other communities, and you actually contribute into that community, either creating an issue or suggesting a change or doing translation. There's so many ways of contributing to open source. So what we're going to do, we're going to do both. We're going to start by editing our own project, and then we're going to edit someone else's project. The edit that we're going to do is very, very simple. We're just going to add our name. But that's basically the same way what you're going to do if you want to suggest a different sort of changes. Okay. So going back to the exercises slideshow. Within open source or within GitHub, there's a lot of jargons. There's a lot of terminology that it's not easy. It's not sort of intuitive. So even English people, they find it a bit difficult because it's not very intuitive. And if you felt a bit lost and you don't remember what that means, just let me know. And it's just, it's a matter of really hearing that word so many times, you get used to it. Yeah. So one of the very important thing we're gonna work in some of the project is something we call the README file. So with the README file, it's basically this sort of landing page. And it's very important that this landing page, when you create a repository, has something about the project. Like this is in the Open Innovation for Open Science, which is a project that I'm working on inside the Open Science community. And Lamis is also a core contributor to that project. So this project, you can see in the landing page, it shows you code of conduct. It shows you what license, what open license is using. It shows you what the project is about, how you can report a bug, how you can, like, you can think about it as the front page of the book. If people come into your project, they want to understand what that project is, not just files, but also a landing page that shows what the project is about. Sometimes you would add a name, you would add your collaborators. However, what's a bit tricky about it is it's basically the way that we edit it is not edit a simple Word document. We use something, we call it Markdown. And Markdown, you can think about Markdown is like a way of formatting your text. And in Word, the way that you format your text is you click bold, italic, you click on these sort of things that you find in your text editor. In GitHub, these things does not exist. It doesn't exist in your Markdown. The way that you do bold or you do italic or you do like a heading is by creating some syntax, using a syntax. So if you add this hashtag, one hashtag, it will make it a header one, like a big header. If you added two hashtags, it will make it eventually, it's gonna render as header two. If you want to add a bullet point, you just do asterisks and you list the things and it will be shown as a bullet point. If you want to do a bold, you basically add, and I'll show you how to do all of that. But this is the way that we format text inside GitHub. And Markdown is really one of these very, very fun sort of languages. Very, very easy syntax. It just needs some sort of memorization. And a lot of people, they would sort of, they would have this cheat sheet somewhere in their desktop and they use it when they sort of do anything. So when you basically want to add image, you add it this way. You add the path to the image. When you want to add links, you add the site name and then the site link here between brackets. If you want to do something bold, you use two asterisks between it. It might feel a bit sort of funny, not easy at first, but then you get used to it, okay? And the thing that I want to say about Markdown, about GitHub, most people who do collaborative projects will be familiar with Markdown, and you're not just using it in GitHub, you also use it in different places like HackMD. So you will find a lot of use if you start to practice in Markdown. For GitHub, most people who do GitHub, they find a lot of value of using GitHub, not for creating just their own project, but also for collaboration. And I think that's where they get the most value of it. If I'm creating a project for myself, it's also very useful for my future self. When I come like 6 months after, I don't remember how I created things, how I changed things. But if I had it in GitHub, it will tell me all the history and it's easy to track down how things in it. When you edit anything in GitHub, you create something, we call it a commit. And you can think of commits as this sort of, you can think of it as anchors. If you made any mistake along the way, you can go back to them. It's like you can go back in time to these commits. If you don't have commits, you just like make a huge change and you make just one comment here and one comment here, you won't be able to see all the little changes that you made in the way. So what we do, and when we work with GitHub, even like very, very simple things, when we do them, we create comments, and I'll do that with you right now. It will be more clear when I show it to you. But these comments is very, very important because it shows you the journey, not just the destination, not just where you reach, but really it shows you the journey. And it also helps you when you have a collaborator come into the project. They understand your project way, way, way better. If you're writing a book, they understand your book way, way, way better if you have these comments. Okay? So, and the comments basically in any project, how do you visualize them? You click in comments and it will show you here who make the comments, when was it made. It's like here, Batool made a comment 7 minutes ago and she created a README file. And here Sandy committed 8 hours ago and she updated the exercise quiz. So it shows you really the time, the person, what sort of changes that they made. I spoke a lot about this in the past, that when you write in a paper, usually you write, you write it and then you call it final.doc. You're very happy that you reached the final. You take it your supervisor, he make changes, you come back, make the changes, you change the name again, you have a different version. And then it goes back and forth between your supervisor, between your collaborators, and you end up with so many versions. Each one has like a different name, and you don't know which is which. If you want to go back to a previous version, just so hard to track it. And that's why I hate when people, when I'm working on a project with people and they send me attachment. I don't like attachment. I think it should be really something people don't use it. You should have a collaborative document, either Google Doc, even Google Doc has a history and tracking, like collaborative document that you can add things to it and you don't have to save it in so many versions. Because otherwise you end up like that. You end up with so many things. And you might remember them at the day, but then if you go back 6 months later, you're really not going to remember anything. So before being really kind to others, you being kind to your future self. Like I'm kind for my future me by creating a structure and having version control in the project that I'm using, if that makes sense. And when we create these comments, one thing that we do is we add the message along with the comment itself. The message is this one. So this is the message. So we have here a message that tell us what sort of a change that we made. So here, initial comment, data cleaning, drafted the manuscript, analysis completed, like all of these little, when I do any other sort of comments, I add what sort of change that I made along the way. So it makes really navigation more obvious, safe, streamline the route. It makes us, when you go back to a project, rather than you really focusing on how these sort of changes being made, you focus on the science sort of things. But if you're not really using, if you just using like Microsoft Word or like old-fashioned way, you end up with so many versions, each one called a different name. And when you go back in the time, it just really, it makes you more exhausted, and you like, your energy goes into the wrong place rather than you having it in the right place of the project itself. So yeah, you end up with really very, very clean sort of road journey. If you come back to the same project 5 years later, it's very easy for you to reproduce it, to build more results on it. It makes your life way, way easier. So it's really using GitHub is not to make your life difficult, that's cool, but to make your life way, 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 way easier in the future. So let's do this together. What we're gonna do, people who have already a repository, keep your repository, you don't have to create a new one. If you don't have a repository, do create one with me, okay? So you go to your GitHub. Let me just copy and paste. So this is the GitHub. And if you click GitHub, let's go back. So click GitHub and then go into your right corner here. You can either go your profile and then click your repository, or you can immediately go to your repository, okay? In my case, I already created a repository here, so I can use that. But for other people who did not create a repository, I will do that again. So you can do that by clicking in here, or you can do it from the plus sign at the very top. It's either here or the other here is totally fine. If you're choosing to click that plus sign, you go to a new repository. Okay, is that clear? In your repository, all you need to do is name that repository. You can name it whatever you want to name it. You can't name it something that you already has. I already created a repository at the very beginning called RN test. So it's already in my account. It doesn't allow me to create another one. So I have to call it test 2. And here you add, do you want to make it public? Do you want to make it private? In this case, I want to make it public. And it's fine. You can create it first public and then change it to private. You can do that. Or create it as a private and then later change it to public. You can do that. And then you go add README file. So click add README file and create a repository. Okay. So yeah, you need to name it. You need to check add README file, and then you click in this green button at the very end. And now you have a repository. Okay. Does anyone struggling with this? Do I trust that everyone have repositories? Okay. If you don't have and you struggle with the creating a repository, just let us know in the chat. Okay. So you have a repository. We were speaking a lot about how you edit your README file. Again, when you edit anything inside your repository, when I say repository, it means within your project, you always need to commit that change. By commit, you can think about it as a stamping or anchor that you can go back in time to it. So how you do that, let's say I want to edit my README file using my Markdown language. You click on this pencil or pen at the very corner. You click on it and you'll be able to edit. You see, when you want to edit, you don't have, let me just go back this. You don't have these sorts of things to edit. So you need to use Markdown syntax to edit. And what we're going to do today, we're going to do very, very simple syntax. We will be, so if we use one hashtag and then we add space and we add a text, that text going to be rendered as a heading. How it's going to be rendered, you can click in the preview and you can see how it's going to be rendered. So it's going to look like this. And then let's say I want to add contributors. Do the same. And then I want this as heading 2. And I want to add my name. Okay. So is everyone able to follow this stage? You can go to preview and see how it looks like. So right now I have contributors as a heading 2. I have Aaron as a heading 1. And then I have my name as a bullet point. Does that make sense? However, this is not going to be in we did not commit that change yet to our repository. And the way we commit the change, we go to this very green bottom here. We click on it. It will show you this very small screen. In that small screen, this is where you add your message. So you say, I added my name. Oh, sorry. I added my name. in the README. You don't have to add anything here. The most important is this message. It should be very simple, small message that you understand what sort of change that you made. And then you can commit directly to the main branch. You don't need to understand what branches mean. We're not going to go into that details. And then you go committed changes, okay? Committed changes. And now, oh, it's been committed. How do I know it's been committed? If I click in the repository here again, it will, now my README file has changed and I have contributors and I have my name on it. And also when I click and commit to see the history, okay, it will show that I have a new comment made by me right now. And the commit message was, I added my name to README. Does that make sense? Is that too much? Did anyone able to follow on and they can share their repository in the chat and what changes they made? Oh, Samira, very clear. Oh, I'm so glad. First time it will be a bit confusing, especially if you're not familiar with GitHub as sort of, you can think of GitHub as a website, but sometimes it has too many things in that website. So it's a bit hard to navigate between them. Once you get used to it, it becomes way, way easier. Can anyone share in the chat their repository so we can see the changes they made? Does anyone need more time? Just gonna stop sharing.
Yeah, it says already, the repository is already created, yeah?
Yeah, if you already have created a repository, it should be fine. I mean, you should just make that changes in the repository itself. But if you can share that repository, it would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Are you able to make that edit in the README file on the repository that you already have, Aman?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Exactly where I start to edit that one. I'm sorry. When I try to create that, it's already created, but
okay. Yeah.
sorry, would you repeat that once again? Sorry.
Yeah, if you already have a repository, you don't have to create a new one. Just use the repository that you already have, Aman. So I've seen that you already have a repository are in test, I think. You don't have to create a new one. So if you have one, you can play with that one and just edit, go back to that repository and just edit the README file.
Okay.
Oh, Sarah has posted the link. Let me see. Fantastic, fantastic. Oh, that's so beautiful. Let me share screen. Yeah, so Sarah has added the name, the history, sorry, the date, contributors. That's fantastic. Let me see also the repository. Musa. Oh, fantastic. So you're able to edit as well and add in different sorts of headings. So Musa has added heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. That's wonderful. Samira, I think I see also Oh, I see so many repositories. Okay, that's fantastic, Samira. I think what happened with Samira is you did not add a space between between the hyphen and the name. So you need to add that space, and that's why it sort of becomes one line. But it's fantastic. You've added heading 1, heading 2, and it's working very well. Zoe as well. Let me see Zoe's. Okay, fantastic, Zoe. Here's the thing. If you have things in different line, I think I can click in the code. So you have them in different line, but they're not in different line. And the reason is you don't have a hyphen on them, and that's why they're not showing in a different line. Yeah, but that's fantastic. I think I've seen Sarah's. And let me. Yeah, Michael, you can edit your existing one. Let me have a look. Wow. Michael. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. So you can see with the code that Michael has created, he has so many bullet points. He used different headings as well. That's fantastic. Let me see, Thomas. Oh, I think Thomas, your repository is private. That's why I can't see it. I think because it's private. Let me have a look. It's not. Let me just try. Okay, I see your repository, but you don't have another comments in your repository, Thomas, right? So let me know if you're struggling with it or if you have any problem. Okay, someone need to open a repository. Okay. Yeah, wonderful, Samia. Wonderful. So Thomas, this is the link. So Samira, yeah, go on.
If I created a repository without including a README file, so can I add a README file later on?
You can, but it's a bit more complicated. So I would, you definitely you can. You can create a repository that sort of nothing in it. But the way that you add the README file, you would need to use the terminal. So I would really create it from the very beginning. And if you find yourself having a repository without README, just delete it. I'll show you how to delete a repository. Let me show you. So say I want to delete this repository, it's a very old one. I've just created it for a test. I go to setting, and then I go down, and I delete the repository. So I want to delete it. I understand. They ask you so many times, do you really want to delete it? And then they ask you to write the name of the repository, and then you delete it. And then they ask you to sort of confirm on your GitHub or your iPhone, so many things. But eventually that's how you delete a repository. And if it's very new one, you didn't do anything to it, just delete it and create a new one. That's what I would suggest. Okay, I see Thomas has his hand. Yeah, Thomas, go on.
Yeah, thank you. I was able to create a repository, but I got stuck, so I can't move ahead.
Oh, so
Yeah.
so this is your repository. What exactly is stuck on it? So you should be
Yeah.
able to click on that edit. And then I can't do it because I'm not like this is not my.
Okay. So I will
You should.
click
Yeah.
edit, yes.
Yeah. Let me show you in mine how that looks like. So I click edit, and then you should be able to now write your first heading, your second heading, and then your bullet point.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah, let me do that. Thank you.
Okay, I see that Hafsat Ahmed also. Okay, so Hafsa, what we've been doing basically is we're trying to edit our repository. And if you go to GitHub, you should be able, assuming that you are joining from your computer. Okay, if you go to GitHub, just go back to GitHub. So you go to GitHub, then you click in your right corner here.
Okay.
Yeah. You go to your repositories.
Okay.
And you should already have a repository that you created in the last session. Okay.
Okay.
So if you have it, it's gonna, whatever the name of that repository, mine is RNTest2.
Yeah.
What we are doing is editing the README file. So you go to the README file. So this is the README, and by README, I mean the landing page of the repository of the project.
Okay.
So you click on this pencil edit,
Yeah.
and then you start editing or adding your headings.
Okay.
Yeah, in GitHub, you don't have these sort of editing bar. The way that you edit anything is using a markdown syntax. So let me go back to it. So many tabs I have. So if you add a hashtag and then a space, this becomes heading 1. So it becomes a heading. You don't see the hashtag anymore. If you added 2 hashtags, it's heading 2. If you add a dash and then a space, it becomes a bullet point. And you can see here is like how the syntax work. If you add in a links, if you add in bold, it's very different. So let's, for example, let me try and add, like, I want to make Almarzouq bold. So I add 2 asterisks between it. And now when you preview it, Almarzouq is bold. And once you do that, what you want to do is commit the changes. So you click and commit, and then you say, I made my surname bold. So you add a message, very short message, and then you commit directly to the main branch and commit changes. You don't change anything here, and you don't fill in anything here. Yes, commit changes. And now it's been added to the repository. So if you click on the repository again, you'll see it being changed in the repository. And that change get reflected in the comments. So if you go and you want to see the history, like what changes been made into this repository, you click on this comments, size 3 comments. You'll see that Batool added her name in the README file 12 minutes ago. And then Batool again added the surname just now. So you will see this is, you can think about this as an anchors or as stamps of all the changes that have been made into the repository. So rather than you having multiple files, different version, you'll end up having all the history here, if that makes sense.
Okay. Thank you. I'm trying now.
Okay, take your time.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Any questions? Oh,
Yes,
okay.
I have a question.
Yeah,
Sorry.
go on, Milan. Yeah.
Yeah, if I want to share with my team how I can do it and how I can read their comments also.
Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do in the second exercise. The second exercise, we're gonna go to someone else's project. So I'm gonna show you projects from the open science community, and I will show you what contribution looks like how they can edit anything, because any edit, it needs someone to approve it as well. So I'll show you how you do that in a minute.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I see, you've already made it changes, Thomas. That's fantastic. Fantastic, Thomas. Is there any questions that I sort of missed in the chat, or anyone still struggling? Okay. So I'm assuming everyone is happy. They have their own repository and they've done all of that. which is fantastic. Okay, that's fantastic. And again, GitHub is one of these things that has a lot of jargons. It's not very easy to navigate at the very beginning, but once you get used to it, it becomes very, very easy, and it saves you a huge amount of time. So how to contribute, as Nidal said, with others, how we can actually contribute with others and work with others. You've seen, like, your repository that you've sent it to me, I could not change them, I could not edit them. So how we can actually contribute together. Again, what I am going to do is I'm gonna do very simple exercise where we're gonna go into a repository owned by the Open Science Community Saudi Arabia and making you contribute by adding your name into a README file. Okay. So to do that, you need to understand more sort of jargons inside GitHub. One of them, you already know what commit means. You've seen how we do commits, but you need to understand what a fork, pull request, and merge mean. So fork, basically, if you want to change anyone's project, or if you go to Linux and, but by the way, you will see all of them code base, Python, huge community, and some software that you actually use in your iPhone and in your daily life, they all exist in GitHub. You can go to these projects and you can suggest the changes, and you can become a contributor to this project, or you can flag and say, like, you have this bug, can someone fix it? You can do all of that, and I'm going to show you. But to go to someone's project, you first need to fork it, okay? So by forking, I mean you want to copy the project in your own profile and then edit it. And then once you edit and make that changes, you can go back to the original project and submit it as a pull request. And then if that change if the pull request, you can think about pull request, the change that you made, being approved, it's going to be merged. And this might seem very sort of complex right now. It doesn't make sense. But once we do it, it will make more sense. So fork is like making a copy of someone else's entire project. Again, we're not stealing someone else's project because it will show in the project that we copied it. It says in GitHub that this been copied from someone else. So you're not really stealing. This is how people contribute to each other's projects. So the forking, again, is making a copy. So you say, this is a MOX, which is the project I told you about. Lamis and I work on it within the Open Science Community Saudi Arabia. And you can click and fork within the repository, and that's gonna fork the project in your own name. Like so it's been forked inside my repository, inside my own profile. So right now it's not Open Science Community MOX, it's Batool Almarzouq. However, it also shows that this is not something that Batool has created. It's been forked from somewhere else. Okay. So let's try and do that. I'm gonna give you all, so this is the Open Science Community Saudi Arabia. Gonna add it to the chat. I've added to the chat. What you wanna do, so this is the project. You wanna go to fork, click on it, and then you wanna fork it in. I already forked it in my own repository. That's why I can't fork it in it anymore. You're not going to see this list. This list is just because I'm part of so many sort of things. So you want to choose your name. You don't change anything. And then you click create forks. I'm not going to do it because I already have a fork in my own profile. Okay. I'm going to go on to the other steps, but happy to go back to this later. So that's how you fork it. You click and fork, and then it will be forked in your own repository, in your own profile. Once you fork it, like now I do have the project inside like my own profile, and I can edit it, do a lot of changes. I can make comments, yani, like editing. I can do edit, And now I think my edit is very perfect, and I want to go back to the main repository in the Open Science Community Saudi Arabia and tell them they need to add all my changes. The way you do that is by opening what we call it pull request. It's like you're requesting to combine the fork that you've done in the forked repo in the COVID repository, in the COVID project, to the main repository. Once you do the pull request, the people in the main repository are going to review your pull request. They're going to say, oh, we need to make this little change as well, and this change. Oh, no, you can merge it immediately. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a bit. So the steps, just to go back, you first fork means copy. Then you do comments means you edit, you make your changes, like adding your name, and then you submit it as a pull request. Again, it might seem very complicated, but it's really, as you get used to it, it becomes very sort of spontaneous process. So see, this is the open.
Batool, sorry to interrupt you, but Satoni says she's sincerely lost.
Yeah, don't worry, Satoni. What I'm gonna do it again in the GitHub, so it will make more sense. I know it's not very intuitive process, and all the terminology is very sort of confusing. So let's do this together. Okay. So let me just, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back to my repository. You don't need to do that. What I'm doing, I'm just gonna delete my fork so I can create it. So I can create it again. And yeah, I just want to create it again so you see me going through all of the steps. Don't do this. This is just me sort of removing an old fork that I have. Okay. So yeah, what we're gonna do now. I want you all to go to this repository. Okay. Are you all here? Okay. So this is, as I mentioned, this is a repository this is a project that Open Science Community is working on, and it's about basically creating massive open online courses for open science in Arabic. So it's really sort of project that owned by the Open Science Community Saudi Arabia. Let's say you came to this project and you thought, oh, you wanna suggest a new lesson, or you wanna add some changes, or you wanna edit some of the lessons. We're not gonna edit lessons here, but we're gonna do very simple edit by adding our names, just to simplify the process. Okay, so you have it here. So what you're gonna do, so Tony, let me know if I'm going very fast. You wanna click on fork, okay? Click fork.
Mhm.
And then that's gonna show you create a new fork. You don't want to change anything here. You just click create fork.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah. Sorry.
how can I get the list of repositories?
You
If
don't
it's-
go to the list of repository. You basically go to the link that I gave you, this link, and then you click fork.
Okay.
Okay. Once you click fork, it will create that, and you just click create fork. Khadija. Yeah.
Yeah.
About those of us not using our phone, how do we get it on the GitHub website on the laptop?
As I mentioned, Khadija, I've never used GitHub in my iPhone at all.
I mean, if we're not using our phone, we're using the computer.
Yeah.
How do we get the link? Do we?
Oh, so you don't see the
copy
link.
the link?
You don't see the link in the chat of the Zoom?
Okay, let me look through. Okay, I can see it.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Khadija.
Sorry, can I have a question?
Yeah, please, go on.
Yes. What is the purpose of creating a new fork? Is to have access to comment or to contribute with others?
Yeah, so if you want to contribute to any other project that you don't own, you need to copy it. So there's two ways of doing it. Either you can copy it or you can create a new branch inside the repository. Creating a new branch is a bit more complicated, so I'm not going to go through it. And this is like more easier and it's the most like what most people do. Because you can't edit someone else's project. You need to fork it, you copy it, and then contribute to it back to that, the main one, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Does everyone have now fork, new fork? Any questions? Okay, I trust that everyone has a new fork. Okay, fantastic. So Tony, please, yeah.
I created a new fork from the repository using the link you gave. What am I supposed to do inside when I say create a new fork? What am I supposed to do? Anything?
No, you just create.
And I see all those files.
So the fork, you just create a new fork, and once you created that fork or that copy, you will see mocks under your name. Like you're gonna have your own sort of your ID and then mocks. So mocks gonna be under your username, under your profile. Does that make sense, Tony? Did you have it like?
Yes, I did.
Okay, that's fantastic. Okay. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, it could be a bit confusing because you see in the same repository, but again, it says here that this repository is chose under Batool name, but it's been forked from this repository. So you're not really stealing it. We are copying it so we can make edits under our own like authorities and other, like under our own profile. Samira got the idea, but she cannot fork. What's the problem, Samira, exactly? What's shown to you?
Giving me that there are 28 forks, but I cannot fork. Maybe because I'm using my Android, my phone.
What does it say to you? It says it's already forked.
It shows me that there are 28 forks, but I cannot fork. I don't have this the button to fork. Yes, the one that you're clicking right now.
Okay, so you basically, so when you click on this, you can't click on it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I have just showing 28 forks, and when I click it, it gives me the people who has fork only, but I cannot fork.
Can you try to click on this arrow next to it and then create a new fork?
Okay, let me give it a try.
Sometimes when you click on the forks from here, it will show you all the people who forked the repository, right? I think that's what you get in. But if you click in this arrow and then go create a new fork, you should be able. I see 3 hands. Okay. Let's start with Sitoni. Is that an old hand or a new hand? Oh, I see Sitoni. I see a repository. You've made one. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah. And I see Musa as well. Fantastic. Stoney, is that an old hand? You have your hand up. Is that an old hand or a new hand?
Sorry, let me lower the upper.
It should be fine. Khadija.
Yes, it's showing me the option of being able to fork only the main branch.
Yeah,
So what
that's
does
what
that
you want
mean?
to fork. Yeah, that's what you want to fork. You want to just fork the main branch.
Okay, could you please explain what that means?
Okay, so inside GitHub or inside any repository, you can have multiple branch. This is very sort of like very complex or advanced level of GitHub. Let me just show you. So basically, this is the main branch. Let me go to the main repository and show you. So I have so many branches inside this sort of repository, and the branches is basically other way of contributing to the project without. So sometimes you can have how do I say it? So sometimes you don't want to fork the repository. You want to create a copy of the repository inside the repository itself. And that's why it's complicated. I didn't get to it because it's very, very complicated. So you're creating another branch or another parallel sort of project inside it. And you can make the edit and then eventually submit them to the main as it changes. Again, so the idea of branches is very, very complex, and you don't need to know it from the very beginning. Not many people use it. But usually the branch that we use is the main branch. The other one is not the one that we use. So you can click view all the branches and it will show you. So I'll show you like show you who's working in which branch and which branch is active and is it behind or ahead. When we say behind and ahead, we're comparing it to the main branch. Is it behind the main branch or not? So I really don't want you to go into it. It's very, very complex sort of like concept inside GitHub.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, I don't want to confuse people to go into branches from the very first section.
It's fine. Thank you.
Anyways.
I have this.
Samira, did you have a fork?
No, I couldn't fork, but I've seen this the change branch, and when I clicked on, I didn't find. I just got like add quiz results and then translation and other stuff, but not the MOOCs.
I don't get it, Samira. So basically, you are. Let me share my screen. So basically, you are on. Oh, just go back. So you are on this page, and you clicked on this arrow, and you ask for create a new fork, right, Samira?
I don't have this create new fork.
You don't have it. Because the other way, I don't know what it's showing in your. Did you say that it shows you something like this? Is that what it shows you?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, so it shows you something like that. You should have you should have that button probably somewhere else in your Android. Let me just go back to this. Do you not have any other place where it says fork at all?
No.
No. Okay. Interesting. I really don't use Android phone, so I don't know how it looks like.
Excuse me.
Yeah, go on.
Is she using a PC or is she using a Android phone?
Seems to be Android phone. Correct me, Samira. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm using an Android phone.
I thought you were using a PC, then I would have been able to help, but with Android, I'm not able to help. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Does anyone know? Anyone is using Android also and having a problem? Okay. Fantastic. We have also another fork. That's wonderful. So I trust all of you except Samir are able to fork the repository, right? Okay. Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Are you able to see my screen, right? Okay. So right now, each one of you have, Samira, if you're not able to follow up, let me know later when we're gonna record all of that. So you will be able to go through the same steps in your computer. If you struggled with anything, just let me know and I'm happy to jump in and show you, go around the same steps again in your computer. It's very tricky when using Android or iPhone. Yeah, that's why I try to let people know in advance that we're gonna use computer. Okay, so going back, all of you have a fork here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add our names. Where are we gonna add our names? I want you all to click in workshops, okay? And inside the workshops, you're gonna see this written open source workshop by our names. I can add the link also in the chat just in case anyone not able to. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna make a comment and that comment's gonna be our name. So each one gonna add their name, okay? And then we're gonna create a pull request. So we're gonna request it from the main repository in the open science community to add our name into the original one, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's do this together. It's a bit tricky. You go and edit, you click on this edit readme, similar to how you edit your readme in your own repository, okay? You click edit, then add your name. I'm gonna add mine, Batool Almarzouq. You can always use hyphen space and then add yours, okay? I'm gonna click commit, similar to what I did before, commit changes. This new window gonna pop up and then I would commit the change. I didn't change the message. You can change it and say like, added my name. It's better if you change it. And now, okay, I see my name added, but this is my repository, not the original repository in the Open Science Community Saudi Arabia. What I will do, I'm gonna click on the repository here. So I'm gonna click on my own repository, okay? Just click on it here. And then it will say to me that this branch, it means my fork, okay, is one commit ahead of the open science community. It says that I made one change, one commit, one change does not exist in the open science community. Do I want to contribute? Do I want to add that change to the open science community Saudi Arabia? So I say I want. I click contribute, open up a request. So if you want to contribute, you always have to open something called pull request, okay? It's like a request, please, can you add my changes? So I click and open pull request, and it will show you something like this. Don't get freaked out, and don't worry about all of that text. You can take it out, all of it is fine. So the title is basically, you'll see that I'm now moved, not mocks under my name, but the mocks under the Open Science Community Saudi Arabia. And what you're gonna have this pull request. It has to have a title. Like, added my name. Title can be anything. So you are saying to the core contributor, to the people in the Open Science Community Saudi Arabia, can you add my name? You can add a description. It's always better to add description. Say, can you add my name from, can you add my name? I am from Iran. I'm just not being it. Yeah. You can basically add anything. you can just describe what the change. In a normal situation, that's not what you're gonna do. In a normal situation, your collaborator gonna be adding a new text, gonna be adding a new changes. They're gonna be sort of adding documentation, adding translation. So it's different sort of addition, but I just want to give this very simple example, and then you will know how to do it in more larger scale. So you just add the title, description, and then click create pull request. You always go to the green button in the end, like when you work with GitHub, okay? And now it's being added to the open science community as a pull request. So someone from the open science community gonna come, and I'm sorry if this is just too much, me going through so many steps. I'm happy to go through it again. So someone gonna come, so this is the open science community Saudi Arabia. I'm gonna click on it. So this is the open science community Saudi Arabia. Someone gonna come from the open science community Saudi Arabia to the pull request, and they will see, oh, I already see 4. That's fantastic. It will see that someone is asking to add their name. They will check what the changes they made. Oh, they will say, oh, they asked for their name to be added, which is very simple. So the reviewer, that's gonna be not you, that's gonna be someone from the open science community, from the original project, going and saying, oh, I approve that change, that should be fine. So they submit the review, and it's been approved. If it is approved, the person can now merge it. I can merge it, the same person can merge it. Who is this? It's Otino. Otino, would you mind to merge it yourself? So he can click merge pull request, and now it's going to be merged, and his name going to be added to the main repository. But it has to be approved before that. And do ignore this. These just basically some documentation, and it doesn't come up in any pull request, but this repository, it has some sort of automation and to monitor some of like some stuff inside the repository itself. Let me just refresh. Uchini, are you able to merge it? If you just click on this merge pull request, I will do it. Okay, and that's gonna show the others how you do it. So you click merge pull request and then confirm the merge. And now it says it's been changed and says it's been merged. So if I go to the MOOCs and open science community and I go to workshops, I will see Itino Stefan name. Does that make sense? It seems very complicated and takes sort of time, but once you get used to it, and there is other ways of doing this, using branches and making it easier, but you need to understand these basic steps to be able to articulate and come up with shorter way, if that makes sense. So let me go to the pull request again. I see Sarah's, so I'm gonna go to Sarah. I will see what file change she made. She added just her name, Sarah Salah. So I'm gonna review it, approve it, submit the review. And now, because I am reviewer, it says like Sarah has written her name in the similar line that Otino has written their name. So it says that there is a conflict. This doesn't come very often, and you don't need to know too much about it. I can resolve it by just resolving and saying like they are indifferent. Don't worry about what I'm doing right now, just me resolving that conflict. That doesn't come very often. It's basically me saying they are in different lines. So, and I mark it as a resolve and I commit the merge and I update it. Sarah now can actually merge it herself. Sarah, do you want to merge it? Live. Let me. Sarah, are you able to merge it? Yeah, I will repeat the process, Tani.
I see that the changes has been approved, but I can't find the merge pull request.
Oh, you can't find it. It
I
doesn't
can't
come
see it.
up. Can't see it.
No, changes approved, and then this branch has no conflicts, and then nothing. I can't see the merge pull request button. Do I refresh or something, or I will
Interesting.
try to refresh.
Interesting. It could be that the repository is protected, because sometimes some repositories are protected and need two people to approve it before you're allowed to merge it. Maybe this repository is that case. So don't worry, I can merge it myself.
Thank you.
And now it's been merged. So if you go to the mocks and you go to workshops, you'll see that Sarah's name has been added as well. Yeah, this. So let me go to the pull request, other pull requests, and I will see this pull request, which is being created by Bakari. So Bakari created this. He called it out my name again, and I can check what changes he made, and he just added his name. So I'm gonna approve the change, but because he added his name in the very first line, and now we have other people added their name in the first line, GitHub gets sometimes confused and say like, you've added different things at the same line. And that's why it shows conflict. So I'm gonna approve it, but I'm sure it's gonna show it to me like it's gonna show me conflict, as I say. And conflict is just because two people have added the same information at the same time at the same line, if that makes sense. So the way I resolve that, I click resolve, and I just take out these all sort of arrows, and so I just clean it, basically. I clean it so it is in the way that I want it, if that makes sense. So now I have Bakari, Sarah, Otina, and I mark it as resolved. Okay. Most of the time, you're not going to see that sort of conflict or resolved or anything. But because all of these people brilliantly created the pull request exactly at the same time, and they added their name exactly at the same line, that's why we have it. So I'm confirming the merge. And now, yeah, his name's been added. I see a new one by Thomas. That's fantastic, Thomas. This is fantastic. So I'm gonna do the same thing. So with Thomas, let me see. Oh, okay. So Thomas added his name at the very first line. Okay. I would usually want Thomas to not add it at the first line. I want him to add it after name. So what I'm gonna do, because I am reviewing this request and I want Thomas to sort of change it, I can suggest to Thomas what he can do. So I can copy and paste and say like, Thomas, remove it from here. And oh, this is very complicated to you, I think. It's basically me going and saying, I don't want this change to be at this line. I want it in a different line. And then Thomas can see it and say, okay, that's fine. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna commit these new changes, and he commit it, and then we can merge it. That's what we mean by reviewing, because sometimes you would have the reviewer asking for some changes. And in this case, I'm not going to do that. Probably going to confuse you more. So I'm just going to approve it. And what you will see here is that we're not going to have a conflict because Thomas added his pull request after we created ours and also in different lines. So there isn't any sort of conflict. So we can merge it just fine. If that makes sense. Let me see if there's more. There isn't. So which get me to the question, is anyone struggling and want me to go through the steps again? I know there's so many things going on. Okay, let me try and do the same steps again. Okay. So let's see which one it is. Okay. Okay, so I am now in my fork. This is my fork, okay? This is my fork. I wanna, let me just sync the fork. Okay. So this is my fork. I wanna basically make now changes, add my name, suggest anything, any sort of changes. In the future, that's not the changes probably that you wanna make. You probably wanna ask the open science community to add new lessons or change things into it. So the way that you want to do it, you go to that file and make your changes. So let's say I want to add Khadija name. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I'm gonna add Khadija name. I'm gonna commit the change. I'm gonna say add Khadija name. Okay. I see question in the chat from Zoe, but I don't understand it.
I think she just said that it's too fast, but I was just typing to tell her that you will have the recording. So maybe you could go back to it, or I don't know how you want to handle that, Batool. It's just basically saying it's too fast.
Let me go back. I can redo this again. I think we are a bit running out of time as well, but this is the last exercise. So so yeah, I can repeat it definitely. So this is your fork. You have your fork. Where do you find your fork? In your repository. So if you go to your GitHub, go to your repositories, you will find mocks under your repositories. Okay. So you click on mocks because it's under your repositories. And so this is your mocks under your repository, right? I saw that you created one, Zoe, and also, yeah, so, I've seen that you've created one already. So what I want to do, I want to add my name, I want to add changes, I go to workshops or the files that I want to make a change to it. So we have it right now. I'm going to add in the chat as well, just in case you don't have it. And I want to add my name to it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click into edit, into that sort of pencil as in the corner. So I click on it. I add Zoe, for example. Okay. I added Zoe. I commit the changes. I click on the green. It's always the green bottom that I want to click on it in GitHub. I click and commit changes. In the commit message, I say added Zoe. Okay, Zoe's name. I mean, you can add what other commit message that you want to add. And then again, green button. You click on the green button. And now Zoe's name's been added here. Okay, so Zoe's name has been added, but it's been added into my own repository, like your own repository. How I can create a pull request. I go back. So I click on this. This is basically going to take me back to the fork itself from the main page. So I click here. I think you can click here as well, but I usually click here. Okay. And now it says to me that my branch, it means by your branch, your fork, your copy, is to commit ahead from the Open Science Community Saudi Arabia. Don't worry about how many commits behind. This is because there's been changes made to the main repository, but it's not reflected in your fork, and you can sync it, but don't worry about that right now. So to commit ahead, so what's saying is you've made changes, but they're not actually part of the main repository. Do you want to contribute by them? Do you want to submit a pull request? Well, yeah, I want. So I click contribute and I click open pull request. Is that very quick? Are you able to reach that point, Zoe?
Yes, it's good.
Okay, wonderful. So you click open pull request. And now, add my name. I think because I am basically, okay, if it shows you this, just to click view pull request. Yeah. Okay, because I've already have another one that I did not merge. Let me just merge this one because I have another one that I didn't. Oh, it is actually this one. So what happened is basically it's added my new comments to the old BR that I already created. This might have confused you, Zoe, because it's added it immediately to my old BR. But usually what you're gonna have a new BR asking you to create a new title and add a description. Let me merge this. I'm gonna merge it, so and I'm gonna do it again just in case. I can't merge my own pull request, which is fantastic. Yeah, so one of the things that open science community is doing, I can't like merge my own pull request because it is my. So it's more fair that someone else can come and sort of merge it. So don't worry about this. But usually what you're gonna have a new pull request. I can do that. Do we have a new pull request coming up? Oh, so we have a new one here. That's fantastic. Okay. Oh, Zoe, you've created one. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Okay.
Merci.
Yeah. So it's fantastic. You've added it. Let me just sort of, I don't see your name. Did you add it at the very top? Okay. Maybe because I've added it and you've added it, but let's go back and see. Wait. Okay. So you've added the text that you've added is added my name, not your name, right, Zoe? It's fine. I can correct that and sort of added it here. And also Thomas, I can take his name and added it here. It's fine. But the way that you did the request is very correct. So the way that you did it is very correct. Yeah. And we can actually merge it as well. So, let me just say one thing. Even with computer engineers and people who've been working in softwares and they sort of do a lot of coding, sometimes creating a request is not an easy task to them. It's something that people only with sort of high level sort of practice do it. So if you feel this is very confusing, this is too much, that's very, very normal because it's really an advanced stage. And I wanted you, that's why I didn't go through it in the very first level, first lecture, but in the second workshop. Khadija. Khadija. You have your hand up. Khadija, you got a question? You are muted if you are speaking, Khadija. Okay, it was a false hand probably. So again, what I'm gonna do, because we've run out of time, what I'm gonna do, if you got any question, I'm happy to walk you through it again. I would suggest that you go back to the recording, do the same steps. If I see a new request, I'm gonna merge it so you can have your name inside. And I would only know that you understand this if you make that pull request, and I can see the pull request and I get it merged inside the repository. So let me just go back with the slide. So we've made a fork, commit, and then a BR, which is basically suggesting it changes. Now that you know what commit mean, what fork mean, what pull request mean, what merge mean, that's very, very huge. So congratulations for knowing that. Starting to work in GitHub really gonna open a whole new world for project that feels more welcoming, because you can contribute in many different ways. Again, contribution to open source doesn't have to be contribution by adding your name. You can contribute actually by translating, by adding materials, by creating open materials. You can contribute by writing papers, collaborating in papers, and doing other sort of projects. There's one thing that I want to show you as well within any repository. So you have here requests, but you also have something called issues. Okay. And issues is basically, you're not doing anything in the code base. You're just basically asking a question. You can think about this as Slack or Zoom chat or whatever. So you open a new issue and you say, so you can click open a blank issue. So basically you say, how can I contribute to this project? Or can how I can contribute to this project, or can I translate this lesson? Or it can be like, I found a bug in this project. Can someone actually fix it? Like you can also chat with contributors from issues, or you can come to issues and you can find some questions that you know how to answer it, and you can answer it. So contribution within GitHub takes so many levels, and that's why when I go back to the profile sort of things, you'll see that contribution doesn't mean always pull requests. Like I don't have a lot of pull requests, but it can be comments in your own project, could be code review, you could be reviewing other people's pull requests. It could be issues, the issues that I showed you, just like opening a new issue and asking questions or flagging issues and that sort of things. All of these, it means contribution to an open source, if that makes sense. And once you contribute, you also get to have badges. There's so many things. Feel free to explore project. You'll see so many other projects here within open science, within open source, that they would be very welcoming. This is, for example, this is the Turing Way, and you'll see all the contributors and so many people who works within the Turing Way and support a new contributor, even the one who don't know coding. A lot of these people don't know how to do coding at the very beginning, but then they joined and they started become contributors, doing so many things inside the Turing Way. I know that this session is very, very, very challenging, and so thank you so much for your patience and for trying, because I know it takes a lot to get used to these jargons and to the process, and some people might find it very hard. Why bother going through all of that when we can do all of that very, very easily? So thank you so much. We didn't do a breakout room because I don't think the time did help, but thank you for Ahmed, for supporting troubleshooting a lot of the question. I have added a feedback here asking what worked, what didn't work, and what would you also change if you take that course again. I'm gonna post this again in the chat. So if you didn't have time to add your name, please do add it and add any sort of feedback. Don't worry, feedback is anonymous, so I wouldn't know who it's written by. So feel free to write anything that you want to write. Okay. Any questions?
You have a thank you in bold from Sarah. Yeah, I think, as you said, for a person who's done that for the first time, it would be challenging. But the idea is exposure, I guess. the first time of exposure is difficult, but then as you go and practice more and get involved and learn by doing, like get involved in things, I'm sure that all of us will gain more proficiency in GitHub.
Yeah, definitely. It's also
Yeah.
about practice. And once you
Yes,
see the value, once you see the value, that's where you become more sort of enthusiastic to contribute and do all of that.
Exactly, exactly. And I see a lot of thank yous. So I cannot thank you enough, Batool, for your time, and you've even stayed over time. So thank you very much. And by going through things time and again, so I'm sure everyone, when they go back to the recording, even if they miss something, it will be easy to follow. And as Batool said, she'll be happy to help. And I guess also Ahmed. So thank you, Batool and Ahmed, so much for today. And thank you, Batool. I'm sad that this is your last session in this level, but I hope that we'll see you in the future a lot.
Thank you, Lamis, and thank you, Ahmed. I would have never made it without Ahmed. So thank you so much, Ahmed, and for Emmanuel as well for the facilitation and all the support. Yeah, do drop me any. I'm still in Slack. If there's any questions, anything, just let me know. Yeah, thank you, and sorry for taking over the time.
No, we thank you for your time. Thank you very much. We know how busy you are.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so bye-bye, everyone. We'll see you again on our next session. Bye-bye. Au revoir. Bye-bye.